grab that too. You're in the front. Everybody now? Please be seated. Make sure your phones are all quieted.
You can come closer to me.
That's good.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Katie's older brother, Sean. Does my sister look great? How about James? We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, that's for sure. Especially you two. We have a beautiful, beautiful weather tonight. The landscape looks beautiful. All the hard work is done. The planning and decisions, the dresses, the hair, the 14-day cucumber cleanses. Time to party, almost. First off, I'd like to thank this great showing of family and friends. Conway's, well represented here, the Carrolls, the Tragos family, the Dunns, all of Katie's and James' beloved friends who are here today. This is what it's all about. For Katie and James to celebrate their love and commitment to one another with you, their closest and most favorite people in the world. So take a look out there. Let that soak in. They're all here for you. It's a whole lot of love looking back at you. And of course, a special shout out to Gail, who introduced these two way back when. Where is Gail? There's Gail. Would also like to take a moment before we begin to remember a few very important people to Katie and James who are no longer with us, but are certainly present today in spirit. James's grandparents, Joe, Mary, and Maranthea. His uncle Dimitri, and his uncle Joe. Katie's and my grandparents, Ruth and Walter. Our uncle Jim, and just recently, our Aunt Jerry. I was honored when Katie and James asked me to be their wedding officiant for their big day. I filled out the paperwork and convinced Christine to write my letter of recommendation, probably against their better judgment. And I'm granted a one-day marriage designation by the governor's office, which doesn't expire until midnight. So, if anyone else like to take advantage, come find me later on and we will bang this thing out. Before Katie was born, oh wait, I missed a page. This part's important. Actually, my original offer to Katie and James way back when was for this wedding for me to resurrect Glam Slam, my 80s lip sync band that played my wedding. And they counter-offered by asking me to officiate instead. So I guess having me up here might have just come out of panic, their desperation to keep wigs and spandex out of their wedding. I don't know, but in any case, I'm extremely proud to be a part of this special day. You know, despite an 11-year age difference, Katie and I have always been close. In fact, I remember first getting my driver's license all those years ago. And while a lot of kids with new licenses were out cruising around town with a car full of buddies, cranking the tunes, driving around town looking for trouble, I always enjoyed and preferred Katie's company. I took her with me everywhere. Movies to the Woburn Cinema. Out to lunch at the Ground Round, probably. One night I even took her with me up to Fitchburg State, where I was attending college at the time, just so she could see where I lived, order a pizza and watch Growing Pains, hang out with my college roommates. She was my chubby little best friend. Christine approved everything I wrote. Before Katie was born, when it was just my sister, Carrie, and I, we had a fairly calm, quiet family. I think I spent a lot of time doing my own thing, probably daydreaming. Carrie had always been really shy, and in fact didn't really even speak much till she was 4 years old, so it was pretty quiet. So you can imagine the dramatic contrast between our before Katie lives and after Katie. If you didn't know her when she was little, you would not in the least be surprised to know that she was, even back then, full of this fun, infectious electricity. Always happy, always laughing, always positive, always making you smile and laugh, no matter what your mood was a minute before she walked in. She was, and of course still is, impossible not to fall in love with. And I know James can attest to that. There are two schools of thought when it comes to attraction and love and what brings two people together. One of those theories is two of a kind, two peas in a pod. The other is opposites attract. And on the surface, it might seem that Katie and James fall into the latter category. James, quiet, reserved, hardworking and focused. Katie, sort of different from that. James, way back when, would keep a list of things to get done in life, a list of things to do, and that list probably led him to his successful business, his home, maybe even finding Katie. Hi. Always keeping a list. Katie, I can't really even picture Katie filling out a grocery list. I kind of picture her just winging it when she gets there. But the truth is, it isn't quite that simple as opposites attract, because love itself isn't. Everyone here who's been married knows that it's neither one truth nor the other, but both at the same time. Our significant others are in some ways very much different from us, and in other ways quite similar to us. And Katie and James are no different. There's some common ground between them, of course. Both are blonde. Both share strong bonds with their families and value those close ties more than anything else. Both love the beach and the North Shore. And both have a love and compassion for dogs, so much so that one just wasn't enough. There was talk for a while of Willow and Blue being a part of this wedding celebration today. But of course they would have run amok and completely trashed the place. And we already have Alan for that. I was talking to James not too long ago, at another recent wedding actually, Stephanie's and Ronnie's a few months ago. And he was telling me all about this road trip he and his brother took last year on motorcycles. They started in San Francisco and drove down the Pacific Coast Highway and then through Big Sur, which I'd done not too long ago, and so has my brother. And we can both attest as one of the most gorgeous landscapes on the planet. And it's been called, quote, the greatest meeting of land and water in the world. On motorcycles, it must have been pretty spectacular. And I think that right there tells us a lot about James. His eye and appreciation for beauty and a sense of adventure and daring. And so, of course, he'd fall for Katie too. It makes sense. But the truth is, as much as we all try to explain love, to quantify it, we really can't. The playwright Oscar Wilde wrote, "You don't love someone for their looks, or their clothes, or for their fancy car, but because they sing a song only you can hear." And all of us here today are glad Katie and James heard each other's song. I'd now like to invite James's sister Grace up for our first reading.
Sure.
This is 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails.
And now our brother Jeff for a traditional Irish blessing.
May God be with you and bless you. May you see your children's children. May you be poor in misfortunes and rich in blessings. May you know nothing but happiness from this day forward.
Thank you. So much has been written and spoken about love, including what's been said here today. Perhaps more has been written on this subject than on any other in the long history of written languages. And yet, every love is a story unlike all the rest. So for all the sagas and histories and stories of love, every love is a brand new narrative. F. Scott Fitzgerald famously wrote, "There are all types of love in this world, but never the same love twice." So, Katie and James, rather than a familiar fairy tale, your love represents the creation of an entirely new language in which love is expressed, a language with only two speakers. And as your story continues to be written, so will the vocabulary of your love. I'm an English teacher, so there's a lot of metaphors. Today is not the beginning of your story together, nor is it, as it is in so many romantic movies, some grand finale before the end credits, but rather just an interlude in your ongoing story, an acknowledgement and celebration of what you've already been building together, your beautiful home in Boxford, the beginnings of a lively family with Willow and Blue, and a strong foundation with which to build your next chapters. May it be a great saga of love and comedy, of adventure and animation, and we who are assembled here today look forward to each playing our parts. Katie, would you please join hands with James? Marriage is the clasping of hands, the blending of two hearts, the union of two lives into one. And your marriage must stand not by the authority of the state, nor by the seal on your wedding certificate, but by the strength and power of the love you have in one another. James today has decided to prepare his own wedding vows. That's okay, I have backup right here. James, would you please repeat after me? I, James, take you, Katie,
I, James, take you, Katie,
to be my wife.
to be my wife.
I promise to be true to you
I promise to be true to you
in good times and in bad,
in good times and in bad,
for better or for worse,
for better or for worse,
for richer or poorer,
for richer or poor,
in sickness and in health.
in sickness and in health.
I will love and honor you
I will love and honor you
all the days of my life.
all the days of my life.
Katie, would you two repeat after me? I, Katie, take you, James,
I, Katie, take you, James,
to be my husband.
to be my husband.
I promise to be true to you
I promise to be true to you
in good times and in bad,
in good times and in bad,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poorer,
in sickness and in health.
in sickness and in health.
I will love and honor you
I will love and honor you
all the days of my life.
all the days of my life.
Chris, would you hand James Katie's ring? James, would you place this ring on the end of Katie's finger and repeat after me? Katie, I give this ring
Katie, I give this ring
in pledge of my love and devotion.
in pledge of my love and devotion.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring I thee wed.
Good. Chris, would you hand Katie James's ring? Katie, would you place this ring on the end of James's finger and repeat after me? James, I give this ring
James, I give this ring
in pledge of my love and devotion.
in pledge of my love and devotion.
With this ring, I thee wed.
With this ring I thee wed.
Katie and James have declared their love and commitment to one another before their family and friends, which leaves us with just one important thing left to do. You have kissed countless times before, but today your kiss is a promise. So by the power vested in me by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, it is my privilege to pronounce you husband and wife. You may seal it with a kiss. Now we'll step out there a couple. Ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time, it is my honor to present to you Mr. and Mrs. James Dunn. The bar is open.